welcome back to another episode of Inside the Playbook, brought to you by the Sports Playbook. If you're new here, follow us wherever you listen to your podcast and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. On today's episode of Inside the Playbook, we sit down with motorsport up-and-comer Jensen Shearer. In this episode, Jensen shares about his motorsport plans and which category he'll be entering into for 2026. Jensen has been working his way through the junior ranks and in particular the karting categories, and he'll be racing up against some of the biggest names in Australia. When I sat down with Jensen, the one thing that stood out to me was his mentality when he goes racing and how he applies himself. Something really fascinating, as Jensen is quite young and he has a very stable head on his shoulders. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Inside the Playbook with Jensen Shearer, who's creating value both on and off the track. Jensen, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thanks, man. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
No worries at all. Well, Jensen, we're going to throw some quick fire fun questions at you. This is just very much so the guests can get to know you and see what you like as a person. Does that sound good?
Go for it. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Tomato sauce, in or out of the fridge?
I'd say in the fridge.
Yeah,
for sure.
Good choice. Yeah. Summer or winter?
Summer. Yeah, I like the clothes better in winter, but yeah, summer.
Yeah, very good. Cats or dogs?
I gotta say cats, to be honest.
Cats?
Yeah. They're more of a friend than like a slave, if you know what I
mean. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sleep in or an arvo nap?
Neither.
Get up at the crack of dawn?
Not particularly, maybe 7:30, but yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And final one, it's a bit more in your field. A dive bomb or a switchback for the race lead?
A switchback for sure. That's more satisfying.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Jensen, I feel like everyone's gotten to know you a little bit more through that, but I guess I'd love to give viewers a little bit more of an understanding as to, I guess, your background and I guess what your support network looks like. So Jensen, I'd love to get to know, where you grew up and what your kind of background looked like.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Eltham, so in Victoria. I did rental karting from about 6 years old, and then my dad bought me a kart for Christmas at 10. So yeah, and I guess that was him kind of continuing his dream. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
Yeah, very cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, was your dad also into motorsport as well when he was younger?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he hasn't he didn't come from money, if you know what I mean. So when he was young, he was living with his mum, and he had a dream. So yeah, he did karting, got into Formula V, and it all came to an end when he was 27. I think just running out of funds, and bought a house instead of a car. So there you go.
Yeah, it's I guess we'll get onto that a little bit later. It's, I guess, one of those things with motorsport, right? It's unlike most other sports where you can't just kick a footy around and just practice that way. Motorsport is very much, you have to have dollars or significant financial backing to make it a lot of the times in sport. So it's can be a double-edged sword at the best of times, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me a bit more about like your rental kart side. You said you got into that when you were 6.
I can't remember, to be honest. But
I was going to say, do you remember like the first few times that you jumped into it?
Yeah, I have a few memories. Like it was actually at South Morang kart track that's not there anymore. But
right.
Yeah, I'd be there sort of once a week or something, and they'd have birthday parties, and I'd just smash them all, and then we'd come back in and be like, "Oh, who's Jensen? Like, what? Wait, what?" That's me and my dad. Yeah. But yes, so once I got out of that and had a first experience in a proper go-kart, it was no going back. So
I was going to say, when you got that go-kart, so when your dad bought you that very first go-kart and you're out on the track, I guess, could you describe to viewers what that experience is like being in a go-kart and going around the racetrack?
Okay, so I mean, the first transition from like rental karts to to proper go-karts is crazy, especially when you're that young. All I remember from the first day was just going down the straight and it just not slowing down. Like it just kept going, and your stomach just kind of drops a little bit. Like it's like, oh shit, gotta, I actually keep my head on here, otherwise I hurt myself. It's yeah, no, it was fun, and I was very slow. But yeah, just kept improving, and yeah.
How do you kind of build up your confidence in that? Because being quite young, like you haven't really learned how to drive before, you're experiencing things for the first time, and sometimes it's kind of hard computing all those different things. How do you kind of like grow confidence in yourself to keep, I guess, trying and backing yourself on the racetrack?
I think it's just like the way my brain was wired, you know what I mean? Like you're playing football, and I did play football for like 5 or 6 years. And it's very different in terms of like self-esteem. Like when you're playing, you're with everyone else. It's a team sport, obviously. So you're kind of relying on other people. You're looking at other people, whereas driving, you put your helmet on, you're by yourself, right? So I don't know. I think that's just how my brain is wired. Like I can always have confidence in myself, but like maybe not in a team situation. Yeah. So you put the helmet on, it's just you just perform. That's it. I was just in love with it. So yeah.
You talk about putting the helmet on there. It's always a fascinating thing with motorsport. Whereas other sports, you can always see their face and I guess not predict what their next move is, but you can
Mm,
anticipate what they're going to do. With
yeah.
motorsport, very much you put the visor down and you're by yourself. You're with your own thoughts. What was that kind of feeling like the first time? Did you feel, I guess, confident? Did you feel like you were a bit in your head at times, or what was that kind of sensation like?
Definitely. And I think it came in more like later on. But yeah, I mean, you have good experiences and bad. So it's about keeping a flat mindset and just controlling the things or worrying about the things that you can control, and kind of letting go of the rest. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, you have bad races, like where you might not have the pace that you wanted to, and then you have really good races. So it's like, it comes to a point maybe where I was 14 or 15, it's like, all right, well, no matter the outcome, whether it was my fault or not, you have to keep the same mindset.
And you talk about your support network there. You had your dad who was very much into motorsport as well. Was there anyone else, I guess, in your support network that you kind of drawed on to get advice and kind of help you in those sort of early years?
Yeah, so my grandpa also raced for his whole life. So he only stopped racing, I think maybe 3 years ago. He was 83. Yeah,
Wow,
so
it's incredible.
but yeah, he was racing Formula 3 when it was a big thing in Australia, and it was the Drivers' Championship. So um yeah, he was always there at the track with me, so I had my dad and my grandpa. My sister occasionally came. So but yeah, it was just mostly those two that I guess instilled the mindset in me, and helped me coach me driving, and yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, and you start, I guess, getting a little bit more experience and going up the ranks a little bit more. When did for you go-karting become, I guess, a little bit more serious? Like it's turned from rentals, your dad's giving you a go-kart. When was, I guess,
Mhm.
that next transition phase of going, okay, things are getting a bit more serious now?
So this is actually, yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about, because I'm coaching a few kids at the moment that are karting, and they're sort of like 13, 14 years old.
Mm,
And I wanted to talk about the mindset you have when you're at that age, when you're like 10 to 13 years old, and your dad's paying for you to race, like in Cadet 12, whatever.
yeah.
Um, it's very difficult to understand when you're that young, like that the this is sort of, well, for me anyway, this is like a career path, and I don't think it might not have been instilled in me as well as I wanted, or something like that. But now later on, like I understand all these things, and I can teach my 13-year-old drivers the things that I wanted to know when I was 13. So yeah, it's super rewarding. And yeah, I wish I had had the mindset earlier on, but now that I can pass it on, it's still good, and obviously still use my mindset for my career. So yeah.
What's when you talk about mindset at that age, what was, I guess, something that kind of stood out to you that you, I guess, could draw back on and feel like you're a bit more either say confident in the car or something that you kind of look back on and feel like, oh, I could have, I lacked in that space potentially.
I'd say I focus a lot on, your mind when you're driving, because that's essentially everything. Like, it's not necessarily, we work on technique as well, um, but it's mostly the mindset, since it's weird. It's all happening at once. Like, you're driving and you're coming up to a corner, and this is sort of this is your job. This is what I'm sort of teaching to my drivers, is like, you always have to put what just happened out of your mind, because you can't change it. Like, you make a little mistake or whatever, um, there's a word that you just repeat to yourself, like just next. Like, I got this from Enzo, and you just say next, and then focus on the next corner. That's your job to do. You're coming up to it and you're focusing on it. That's all you have to think about. There's nothing else, sort of thing. And then um, yeah, I mean, a few of my kids have like ADHD, so it's a bit hard for them to concentrate. But you can see, like, right after you tell them to do something and they go and do it, it's the best feeling ever. Like, yeah,
I could imagine. Could you,
yeah,
you touch on Enzo there? I guess for anyone that's not really in the motorsport kind of sphere, could you touch on, I guess, who
yeah,
Enzo is and what he provides to, I guess, motorsport races?
yeah. I mean, so Enzo's a YouTuber, and he posts videos about everything to do with being a racing driver. So, sponsorships or marketing, being um, like, well, composed for the media, all that stuff. He teaches everything that you could want to know, and he's also a coach for a few F1 drivers, F2 and F3. So yeah, he's been really good to listen to.
Yeah.
And if you're like on a lunch break, or you're just eating, or like in the morning, if you're feeling a bit stuck, like, you just watch him, and then it kind of gives you a bit of momentum for the day.
I could only imagine. I think someone for, I guess, young racers that are out there, and I guess if they're listening to this or if they're looking for someone to draw advice from, like he's the perfect person, right? Because he instills a lot of confidence, not
Mm,
only in you, but I guess the ability to back yourself when you're out there on track, but also off track as well.
yeah, no, definitely. He sort of instills that, like, if you do have a bit of self-doubt when you're in the car or off the track, he validates it, and then he works around it. You know what I mean? So yeah, he gives you a lot of I guess, advice on how to, like, train your mind to be able to deal with these situations.
Definitely. And I'd love to get, I guess, your kind of understanding and experience because I think if I'm right, you joined a pro go-karting team or karting team rather when
Mm.
you were 11. Is that right?
I can't remember, to be honest, but it wasn't necessarily joining a team. It was more like you pay them and then you race with them. Like, so
Yeah.
you pay them and then they help you with your driving and your cart setup, and transport if you want. We transported our own, but yeah, it was a good experience, and definitely helped with, like, setup and things. But yeah, it was, yeah, mainly just me and my dad for most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, what so being able to pay someone for like transport and I guess setup of cars, did that
Mm.
take, I guess, a little bit of stress away from your dad and you when you were at a racetrack, or how did that, I guess,
Um,
kind of go?
nah, so we were always under stress.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, being with a team just gives you that little bit extra of, where if you see you're lacking pace somewhere, you can go to the team and be like, you look at the data, you can do a few things on the cart to change it. And then just driving as well. So, obviously you pull up the GoPro footage, and then you pull up the data analysis from it, and then compare the two and see what you can do. But yeah, it was helpful in that way. Um, yeah, it was more like a boost forward than than a stress relief sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess describe to viewers like with motorsport, there's a lot of weekends that you're away from home and out at I guess go-kart tracks and you're racing everywhere. How
Mm.
many how many weekends do you think of a year were you going out and at a racetrack?
I think full weekends it would be maybe 8 or 9. And then you've obviously got club days in between them, which is just a 1 day thing. So yeah, from Thursday to Sunday, it would be about 9 or 10 times a year. And like it was just the best experience. Like it was so much fun. Just me and my dad, we'd just pack up the trailer, go away for 4 days, not going to school for Thursday and Friday. Um, and then you go stay at some absolutely wretched hotel, like $80 a night. And it was just all part of it. You know what I mean? You get up in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning at the hotel, and um, struggle to open the door because it gets stuck. It's like, oh, it was the worst places that we stayed in. But yeah, it was just the best. Yeah.
I guess I'd love to get your kind of view on with motorsport. There's so many highs and lows that come in between. I think the fascinating thing is a lot of it can be outside of your control. It can be someone else's mistake. It could be
Mm.
a mechanical failure or something like that.
Yep.
Could you give me I guess, an understanding when you're out there at the karting track and maybe something doesn't go your way, what how does that feel when you're out there at that moment when you're like a younger teenager at that point?
Oh, it's the worst. I mean, you anticipate it for so long and prepare as much as you can, and it'll just crumbles, and then it's just, oh man, I can't explain it. It's just the worst. But you kind of get through that whole stage while you're out there. You know what I mean? So you don't bring anything, any of that harsh mindset to the off track. You're focusing on the next one by the time you walk off the track. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely important to be able to let go and focus on what you can control. And yeah, I had a lot of things happen where it wasn't my fault. We got punted like every race in K3 Junior. It's one of the most chaos classes. I'd say cadets are way cleaner than K3 Junior at the moment, but yeah, that's how we went. And obviously a few mechanical stuff here and there. Lost a wheel at Gippsland. It went flying over the barriers and hit someone's gazebo. Luckily, not didn't hit anyone. But yeah, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, it's I'm curious how many people, I guess, in each of the karting classes were you roughly racing against? Like how big was that those fields in general?
Huge, huge, usually. It was a while ago that I was in juniors, but yeah, I had a huge cadet field, huge K3 junior field. It was the biggest class. But back in those days, you had KF4, which was restricted. So you had K3, which was unrestricted, and KF4, which is restricted. So you had two classes to kind of choose from whether you wanted to go to the K3 junior way, which was fast. And yeah, it was a lot of chaos because yeah, we just got, you know, 13, 15, 16 kids and uh all desperate to win is yeah, it's not a good recipe. And there's like 30 of them, so it's like yeah, you have to qualify well, otherwise you may as well go home.
Yeah, and when you're in such a big field like that, and there's a lot of external, I guess, variables like that, how do you kind of come back to your performance and find that you could get the best out of you?
It was honestly my dad, like he instilled this really good mindset in me that and I think one of my strengths is definitely focus. Like I'm able to focus on one thing for a very long amount of time, and I can fix or I can um, exclude the things that I don't need from my brain at that time. So yeah, endurance would be is my thing because you get to the final and maybe you're starting seventh or eighth and you're doing sort of 13 to 15 laps, which is a long race compared to the ones we were doing, 6 or 8 in the heats. Um, but you start to see drivers dropping off maybe 8 or 9 laps in. And then, yeah, I think well, two strengths, definitely the start. I love starts. It's my thing. But then you got endurance as well of the mind is definitely a point where you can come back to and be able to perform. Yeah.
When you were a bit younger, you said there that focus was a big strength of yours. When you were out on track, and I think you actually touched on a bit earlier too, like the ability to just say next, like almost like next
Yeah,
corner, like
definitely.
or like park everything that happened, go for
Mm.
the next corner. Was
Yeah.
that something that you actively did as a kid, or was that something that kind of happened a little bit later in your career potentially?
No, I did do it as a kid because I just didn't say anything. I didn't have a word for it, but I was just like, okay, like next corner sort of thing. Like, yeah, I don't know, but I think having a word for it, like such as next, you know, is really good because you can always just come back to that and you won't forget it. So yeah.
And I guess with motorsport, whilst the lows can be low, the highs are extremely high. And I think for you, there was no better feeling than I think back in 2019 you won pro karting. Is that right? Like the championship?
Yeah, just the Eastern Lions Championship for the year is just so you do 12 club days throughout the year. And it was just about being consistent, really. I mean, me and Jackson were sort of fighting for it the whole year long. But yeah, it was a good point, and I was really happy. We didn't even know who won the championship until they announced it because we were at the dinner on November, and um, it was coming up to our class, and we were like, we still don't know who won. Like we were kind of very even in the whole year. So yeah, when they said second Jackson, I was like, oh, I've won it. Let's go. Like that's so good. And yeah, it was a good feeling.
Yeah, I was going to say what came from that was your dad the first person there that you kind of went to after the celebration?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you get called up and you go and do your speech. I was 15. Yeah, 15 at the time.
Yeah.
Um, Still getting used to doing speeches, and yeah, it was a good moment for sure.
Yeah, 2019 you have that success, but with every kind of person, 2020 and 2021 comes around and the world kind of,
Mm,
you could call it, say, craps itself.
mm.
What, from I guess, a motorsport perspective, were you able to still go out and do any race meets, or was it just shut down? You couldn't really work on your craft?
No, I think everything was shut down. So 2020 there was nothing on. Like, there might have been the odd event. I can't really remember, but yeah, from what I remember, there was nothing on, and didn't know what to do with myself, to be honest.
Yeah. I was go
Yeah.
what when the world kind of started to, I guess, get a little bit better and the years have kind of gone on, how did you kind of come back into motorsport? Was that back through karting? Did you do more karting days, or how did you kind of go about it?
Yeah, so I think 2020, 2021, it might have come back late in the year. Um, but yeah, we went back to karting, and yeah, bought a new car, I think, at the start of that. Um, and then yeah, ran in seniors from there.
And I believe you've got an old F3 car, right?
Mm. Yeah, the one
Tell,
that my grandpa used to race
yeah.
in Formula 3. So yeah, it's a cool car and it's definitely a good experience to drive it. But yeah, it's not competitive in terms of, you know, Formula Open. If you're racing in that, you're racing against 2014, which is a lot newer. They got paddle shifts, much quicker engine, better aero. Whereas I've just got the H pattern gearbox. Yeah, it's all pretty raw. So heel and toe. So yeah, it's good fun, and keeps my eye in. But definitely looking towards this next year. So
Yeah, definitely. Could you tell us a bit more about, I guess, the first time you tested the F3 car? Because I guess it has a sentimental feeling for you and your family, knowing that it's, I guess, kind of passed down. What
hmm
was it like going out of pit lane and giving it the full gas?
uh, it was so cool. Like yeah, I was so excited, and I stalled the thing about like 20 times, I reckon. Broke the starter, so we had to replace that. But yeah, it was difficult as to get used to the clutch. But yeah, once I did, it was super fun. Got out on track, and I was at Winton, so yeah, it was good fun.
It's I think that's a interesting thing that you say there because it's like the 2014 models you look at now, paddle shifters and things like that,
Mm,
and then you've got your I guess H pattern gearbox.
yep.
For people that don't really would know or understand, in terms of time difference, how much of a time difference does that kind of play into it when you go, I guess, lap for lap? What are you kind of
Okay.
looking at time wise?
Oh, look, it's not really the gearbox. Like, you're only sort of off the throttle for like it's a hesitation. It's not like you're coming off the throttle. It's off and then straight back on as you switch gears. So I wouldn't say there's a huge difference between paddle shifters and downshifting. It's just something extra you have to think about, if like heel and toe and stuff. But yeah, the time comes from the engine and the aero, pretty much. Yeah.
How much time do you think is kind of involved in that? Like over say if you're qualifying, what's the difference between say the front of the grid and potentially where your car is at?
Um, I'd say like the top Formula Threes and Formula Open are doing probably 2 or 3 seconds quicker than us around every track. Well, I haven't really compared or anything, but uh, yeah, they'd be doing if not quicker.
So when I guess you know that another car has a competitive advantage over you,
Mm.
how do you kind of go about setting up your race or setting up, I guess, a qualifying session, knowing that there's an advantage for, I guess, another side or another team?
Um, there's always going to be other people that have a better car and better um, structure in terms of their funds. So that was always involved since the start of karting. There's you've got people that are buying 20 engines and breaking them all down, building two like magnificent ones from all the different parts. You know what I mean? And then selling the rest. It's like um, yeah, you can't really compete with that with people spending a quarter of a million, half a million on go karts. Uh, it's crazy. We just couldn't keep up with that. But so it was always involved. I mean, um, yeah, you just do what you can, really.
Yeah. Could you
Yeah.
tell us about, I guess, your best result that you've had in the F3 car?
It hasn't been like recent at all. Like it's been super relaxed as of recently. So because
Mm.
we know we're not going to do anything, there's no point wasting money on coming last basically or whatever. Um, so yeah, we've just been doing just testing recently, and I've kind of cancelled all of the race meets for the rest of the year just to focus on next year in GT cars. So because it's going to be a lot different to driving a Formula 3 car with aero and stuff. Yeah.
And I'd love to talk about, I think it's a perfect segue, Jensen, like you talk about setting up for next year. And I guess
Mm.
if people don't know already, I guess you've got a Facebook ad live at the
Yep.
moment, but what is your goal for next year and what are you aiming to get into race category wise?
So the goal is it's called Monochrome GT4. So yeah, the GT4 series, and I'm talking with teams. Well, I've signed for a team, Renault Motorsport, and they're a very capable team. They've got the same mindset as myself, and yeah, just real focus around building a business and a community around my racing. So yeah, hopefully we can run with them next year. It's all depending on funds. So yeah, just locking in sponsors and talking with them and making sure I'm um, saying all the right things and all that stuff. So yeah, it all comes into play, and I can't wait for next year. It's gonna be awesome.
Could you talk to me a bit more about the sponsorship side? Because unlike most other sports where you can go and you can kind of form part of the team and the team can pick up
Hmm.
sponsorship, with
Yeah,
motorsport, it's very much most of the time the person themselves has to bring in the sponsorship dollars to the
definitely.
team they're racing.
Yeah,
Could you chat to me about, I guess, you approaching businesses and asking them to back you financially when you
yeah,
go motor racing and I guess what that experience is like?
yeah. So I mean, I started going really hard with sponsorship at the start of this year. But yeah, the business plan has changed like so many times. And you have different prospects at different times and different things going on. But I mean, the main goal of it all is to create something that's sustainable, a sustainable network around you of good people and good businesses that are going to help you to keep racing and go to the next level. And yeah, so we're doing things that most other drivers might not be doing. So we're doing, sponsored dinners, track days for our sponsors, social media content. So we'll have a team that's following me around, just filming absolutely everything. And, I can tell them, we need to go and do an intro video for sponsors. Like for this particular sponsor, we'll go and show them off and make sure our audience gets to see them. So yeah, it's all built around giving value. Obviously, you've got the exposure from having the brand on the car, but I don't think that's where most of the value is, to be honest. Like you've got hospitality that we can do at race events. We can fly you out. We can organize flights and hotels. We can record whatever you like. You can use all our content, and all that stuff just comes into it, and it makes it a kind of little pitch, and seem to love it. So yeah, it's good.
I guess with motorsport as well, it's not a small amount of funds that you raise to go motor racing.
Mm.
Could you give people, I guess, an indicative cost about how much money you need to raise sponsorship wise to go racing for next year in the GT4s?
Yeah. Um, so I mean, you can look at the final figure and just stare up at it. All you want is it's not going to help you. I mean, you're always going to have to do it a bit by bit. And your value has to match what you're asking for. So yeah, you don't go out there looking for 150K for just a sticker on the car, because it's not going to work. And yeah, there's a lot of other things that you have to give people, and I think that my structure is one of the best in terms of value given back to sponsors. So yeah, and it's a network and community as well. So like you're going out with these people, you're talking with them, yeah, it's kind of like a friendship thing as well. Like, they're backing you, so it's like, yeah, all right, let's go. Like it's a really good atmosphere. I mean, I can accommodate anything, right? So if it's 2.5 grand, 5 grand, I can still accommodate that. But they go all the way up to 100K. So 80 to 100 would sort of be premier sponsor, and they get all the perks and stuff within there. But it's not even the sticker on the car that would make the most value, if you know what I mean. It's more what I can do for you at race events, or just come along and do some filming. And yeah, I'm involved with marketing. That's what I've been doing, as well as this sort of kind of plays in together. But yeah, so I've got the skills to be able to market businesses, which really helps in giving back to people. And yeah, that's the idea of it. And hopefully we can all push forward for more than more than next year, and then we got hopefully Carrera Cup or something, and move to Europe. And yeah, that's the goal. And just
When you
bring everyone for the ride. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I'm curious to get your thoughts and how you approach this. When you approach a sponsor, there's obviously a lot of different motor racers out there that are fighting for those dollars. How do you convey to that sponsor that they should back you and back your racing dream? Because there's a lot of, I guess, not similar stories, but everyone's, I guess,
Yeah.
on that path.
Mm.
How do you make yourself more unique and convey that you're the racing dream that they should back?
Um, yeah, it's a good question, because we've been talking about, well, Enzo's been talking about that stuff, and I've been chatting to my network about it. And we really think that our content side of things and social media side of things is a real unique strong point for us. So using that to our ability, and is going to be crucial. And just the way that we care about our sponsors, and actually pretty much guarantee return on investment. It's different to other drivers in terms of they don't really know, or they might not know how to market, how to do campaigns, meta ad campaigns, Google campaigns, how to film properly and put it all together into an ad, how to do all these things for a company that you should be able to do if you're in marketing, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think I've got a real unique strong point here with the dinners that I'll be putting on and the events and stuff, and obviously the race weekends that all the sponsors are invited to.
It's really exciting. I think listening to you talking about your racing dream is it's really exciting because the ability to back yourself in those situations is it's tough putting
Mm,
yourself out there and putting a sponsorship proposal together and getting people to back your motor racing journeys. It's hard, so you should be absolutely congratulated for that. I want to talk about something that I guess might feel a little bit more at home to you. Looking at your Instagram, because I have to do a little bit of research for this podcast, I saw that you went to the 24 Hours of Le Mans last year. Could
yep.
you, I guess, for people that don't know what Le Mans is or what that means in terms of motor racing, could you give viewers, I guess, a bit more of an understanding of what that race is and what that race means to a motorsport fan?
Okay, so the 24 Hours of Le Mans is obviously, well, not obviously, it is the most prestigious motorsport race in the world, I would say. So yeah, above any F1 race, this is the race that you want to win if you're a manufacturer, if you're a driver. Um, yeah, it was the best experience to be there last year, but obviously I'd rather be in the driver's seat. But yeah, it was it's still a good experience to go along and be able to see all the cars, and like you've been watching it on TV for your whole life. So just seeing it in real life was pretty surreal.
What was the coolest car that you saw at Le Mans?
I love the customer Ferrari, the yellow one. I
Is
just
that
love the way that looked.
is,
But obviously I support Ferrari.
is that the Robert Kubica one that won this
Yeah,
year?
they won this year. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty incredible. Like, and all the different manufacturers that are also now coming into it, like McLaren's entering the championship.
Mm,
It's an exciting time for that class, and I think it's
mm.
yeah, like you say, it's the pinnacle of motorsport. So if there's anyone out there that's watching F1, make sure you jump across to Le Mans and
Oh,
get that little watch.
100%. Oh man, like if you're just watching F1, like you got so much that you're missing out on. You got, yeah, I'd say World Endurance Championship is one of the best to watch. The 24 Hours of Spa was amazing a few days ago or a week ago, can't remember. But yeah, that was really good to watch. 24 Hours of Nürburgring, like you got to watch them all. They're so good.
I think Jensen, we're coming to near the end of this podcast,
Yep,
and you've had a lot of different experiences across the board. You've been in go-karts, you've tested in F3 car, and
yep,
also in your family as well. And you're also putting yourself out there a lot, getting these sponsorship deals and
mm,
proposals, things like that.
mm.
But what I want to know from you, I guess, is what is the best piece of advice that either you've learned along the way or that you apply to your everyday life at the moment?
Okay, so I mean, let's go 8 months ago. I had just had a pretty bad motorcycle accident. And I was just in the worst sort of mental space that I could be in. There was not much. Obviously, I didn't have the funds to go racing. There was no sort of seat for me, so I was sad. I was depressed about that. And then obviously having the injury as well was a huge setback for me. I couldn't walk. I couldn't. Yeah, it was the worst. But as you get through that, you kind of wonder why, like, why did I even buy a motorcycle? Like, are you serious? Like, yeah, I was just wondering. Like, obviously, after you have a crash, it's going to be more exaggerated. But yeah, I was just like, why did I have that? It was because I didn't have a proper seat in motorsport. It was kind of like filling a void of, I don't know, like going fast, having that sort of be able to use your skill to go fast. And you kind of come to that realization, and anything that you can um draw from in your own life to be able to apply that to, it's all mindset. Like you get up in the morning and you have something or where you want to be in the next 10 months. You have to know exactly where you want to be um, within 8 to 10 months, basically. So that's why you get up in the morning. That's why you do everything that you do, and it doesn't stop. Like it goes from 8 a.m. to sort of 6 p.m. when you walk when you maybe shut off and go and have dinner or something. But yeah, from the morning to the evening, it just does not stop. Like you're talking to people. I mean, in the early days, I was walking into places with a booklet in hand. I was just walking into local sort of mechanic shops, and it was like it went okay. Like I met some good people through it, but I was just aiming too low. Like these people don't really have the money at the moment, and the economy is struggling at the moment. Like with all the small businesses are struggling with their taxes and all that stuff. So it's better to spread your outreach on the internet. It's better to hook up, your emails, do automated emails, Facebook campaigns. Social media is huge, and just building your side of the network as well. So you have to have a good group of people that want to back you, and I've met all of these people through just doing outreach. So I'd put a sponsor campaign, or want your brand on this car for next year's racing season or something, and I'd get replies from people that just want to work with me, and or have a career in motorsport. And I'm like, yeah, totally, like I definitely need some help with this. You can start reaching out yourself. So yeah, I've got some really good people in my corner that are helping me out at the moment, and doing their own thing. And they come back to me and I've got this sponsor that I'm talking to, and I go, yeah, that's awesome. Send it through to me. I have a chat to them, and yeah, I think that's the best piece of advice is build your side of the network first. Um, and then you can just work in conjunction with your outreach. So your outreach into any business, like it could be anything, which is the best part about this is you can literally ask any business, if they're interested, because it works for any businesses. Yeah, but having people to talk to about it is ultra important, ultra important.
And on the, I guess, the importance of people, the very final question that I'll throw to you, Jensen, is Sports Playbook. We always throw to our guests to challenge who the next guest they would like to see on the podcast. So I'm going to throw to you, who would you like to next see on the Sports Playbook?
Um,
It can be anyone. It could be anyone in motorsport. It could be anyone in sports land that you've looked up to, anyone like that.
uh, all right. I was trying to do someone realistic. Why don't you reach out to James Lodge from Ashley Seward Motorsport?
Sounds good. I'll definitely
Yep.
have to reach out to him.
Yep. Oh, I mean, I haven't even met him, but yeah, I've spoken with the team there, and he's doing well at the moment in the Porsche Michelin Sprint. I think it'd be good to get his perspective on things.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, Jensen, I really appreciate your time and jumping onto the Sports Playbook podcast. I really hope that you get all the GT4 backing that you can so you can race in that championship to your full potential and show your skill to everyone and everyone. So thank you for coming onto the podcast, Jensen.
thank you very much, man. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Inside the Playbook. If you haven't already, please leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It really helps the podcast grow and reach new audiences. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sports Playbook. We will catch you on the next play.